the end of the Fever Mercury game made me sit up for a second because it got a little spicy with Caitlin Clark having an interaction with Dewanna Bonner out on the middle of the floor, sort of waving her back to the bench.
Then you see Caitlin Clark to the right behind the coach coming out and jawing at Dewanna Bonner. Dewanna Bonner says, yeah, it was a foul. And Clark is saying, no foul, no foul.
Well, Dewanna Bonner out on the middle of the floor, sort of waving back to the bench. The entire arena saw it, millions on social media saw it, and by now, you can guarantee that Dewanna Bonner saw it on replay about 200 times, and probably regrets every second of it. It took one wave of the hand for Caitlin Clark to break the internet, again, because picking a fight with Caitlin Clark, that was the moment Bonner turned herself into a meme. Not a legacy highlight, a meme. All it took was one little moment of ego, a quick chest puff, and suddenly Bonner looked like a veteran trying to intimidate a Starbucks barista. Let's be clear, this wasn't just two players trash talking. This was a full-on public meltdown, and Caitlin Clark didn't even have to say a word. She just did that iconic little go-away hand motion, and boom, Bonner's whole tough guy act fell apart faster than the Fever's defense on a backdoor cut.
We've been getting mixed signals coming out about Caitlin coming back, about Caitlin being, somewhat ready to go. Then we got Stephanie White saying it's day-to-day again, basically. Well, I'm here to tell you, Caitlin Clark is not shying away from making headlines because she had a heated exchange with Dewanna Bonner during this game.
But here's where it gets even more awkward. Just a few months ago, Clark actually said she wanted to win a ring for Bonner. Yeah, go back and check the receipts. Clark praised Bonner, shouted her out for climbing the all-time WNBA scoring list, and said she wanted to win for her. And Bonner repaid that with what? A random sideline showdown like she's trying out for a bad reality show. The entire Mercury Fever game had tension. Sure, the Fever were limping through injuries, playing the day-to-day guessing game, and the lineup looked like it had been pulled from a nursing school rotation chart. But even with that chaos, Clark still became the main character, and Bonner just handed her the script.
So obviously being on this side of the ball with her is a lot more fun than guarding her, that's for sure.
What made this worse was how fast the moment blew up. Within minutes of the incident, X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it now, exploded. Fans didn't even care about the final score. Nobody was posting stats. All anyone wanted to talk about was Bonner getting hit with Clark's invisible fly-swatting hand and standing there frozen, as if she didn't just lose the internet that night. Some Fever fans called it veteran hazing. Others said Bonner was just emotional. But let's be real here. This wasn't leadership, it was desperation. A WNBA vet, clearly frustrated, trying to rattle the one player who actually keeps this league in headlines. And Clark, she didn't flinch, she didn't yell, she didn't even roll her eyes, she just waved.
But that interaction stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, obviously, is the history there, where Dewanna Bonner was on the Fever for a cup of coffee and then winds up on the Mercury. Before the season, Caitlin Clark said she wanted to win a ring for her, right? She said, I want to win for her. And Caitlin Clark went out of her way to also, shine light on how Dewanna Bonner had risen up to the top of, near the top of the all-time WNBA scoring ranks.
Hey, let's get a basket for DB right now. Come on. We're getting DB into third place right now.
The type of wave you give when someone's trying to sell you hand lotion at the mall and you pretend you didn't hear them. Cold, calculated, absolutely viral. Now here's the part that really stings. Bonner didn't even look dominant in the game. She put up numbers, yeah, but none of it mattered. Not when the only thing people remembered was her getting dismissed like a mosquito on Caitlin Clark's windshield. Because in today's WNBA, you don't just play Clark, you enter her highlight reel, and that highlight reel is unforgiving. Bonner could have walked away, she could have focused on defense, she could have led by example, but instead she tried to bark louder than Clark's presence and got turned into a punchline. And don't forget, this is the same Dewanna Bonner who used to rock with the Fever. She had a brief stint with them. It's not like she didn't know the cameras were gonna be on Clark the whole time, but ego is undefeated.
You ain't nothing but a scammer, a quitter, and a traitor. You got me twisted. I don't know who you think you are walking up on the GOAT talking crazy. You was just acting like a mentor to her when we brought you in.
But what came next made it even worse for Bonner. She didn't just lose the moment, she lost the entire narrative, because once that video hit the timeline, it was already too late. You can't outshout a camera. You can't out-tough a clip that's looping every 5 seconds with captions like "Clark handles Bonner like a daycare tantrum." The memes were brutal. One of them even had Bonner edited as a security guard, getting escorted off her own court. And Clark, she barely blinked.
Shooing her off like, hey, shoo. Just tell her, go on about her way, man. Now,
her whole response was so calm, so surgical, it felt like she'd been waiting her whole life for that exact camera angle. This wasn't Clark getting emotional. This was Clark doing what she always does, controlling the moment. Let's pause and really think about this. Bonner is not new to the league. She's seen everything. She's battled with legends. And yet, she still walked right into the Caitlin Clark trap. A trap that has already swallowed half the WNBA this season. Angel Reese tried it. Kennedy Carter tried it. Even Lexi Hull got dragged into a scuffle. Each time, same result. Clark doesn't break, she brands. It's the same formula every time. Opponent gets emotional, Clark stays chill, the ref pretends nothing happened, and the internet turns it into a 4K comedy short. And if you thought this was just some viral moment, think again. That wave? That tiny flick of the wrist? That was the entire game's legacy. Nobody was talking about the final score. Nobody cared that Phoenix had 5 players in double figures. The headlines didn't say Mercury Crush Fever. They said, Clark shuts down Bonner with one gesture. This is what makes her dangerous. It's not just the deep threes or the no-look passes. It's the mind control. She turns you into the co-star of your own downfall. Bonner's job was to lead, but for that one moment, she decided to chase clout instead. And in today's WNBA, that's a losing strategy, especially when Clark's got the camera crew, the algorithm, and half the internet in her back pocket. And the refs? Oh, the refs did their usual statue routine, just standing there like they were waiting for the popcorn to pop. No whistle, no technical, no intervention, nothing. The same old officiating blackout that seems to happen every time Clark gets pushed, shoved, elbowed, or tackled. Fans are tired of it. They've been tired. But it's not just fans watching anymore. The front offices are watching, the sponsors are watching, and every player who tries to welcome Clark to the league ends up making her look even more untouchable. Bonner probably thought she was sending a message. All she did was send a signal to every social media account with a watermark and a slow-mo button. And Caitlin Clark, she waved, turned around, and went back to the huddle. Now here's where things really start to unravel. Users. Because while Bonner was busy putting on her tough act, Lexi Hull was putting in real work. Yeah, the player that most people overlook was quietly cooking the Mercury, dropping 18 points, locking down on defense, and playing 35 minutes like it was nothing. And here's the kicker, nobody noticed. Hull was out there grinding, battling, scoring. And Bonner's viral meltdown stole all the oxygen from the room. You'd think Bonner was the star of the night, but not for the reasons she wanted. The irony couldn't be louder. While Bonner puffed her chest, Hull stood on business. While Bonner tried to flex, Hull just played basketball. And guess what? Hull was the one actually giving the Mercury problems. Not Clark, not Boston, not even Mitchell. It was Hull, but that never made the highlight reel. Instead, what made it to SportsCenter was a sarcastic hand wave and a grown woman getting shooed like a housefly. It's brutal, but that's the modern WNBA. Drama gets replayed, discipline gets ignored. And Fever head coach Stephanie White, she watched it all happen like it was part of the game plan. Yeah. But let's pull back the curtain on that coaching situation. White has been juggling injuries, questionable rotations, and vague press conferences like a circus act. Every game, it's the same story, day to day, and taking it slow. Monitoring her status. It's like the entire team is on a mystery health insurance plan, and the fans are stuck guessing who's even dressing for the next game. And while all of that confusion unfolds, players are out here having side quests on the court. You've got Bonner treating Clark like she owes her money. You've got Clark brushing it off like she's checking her nails. And then you've got the rest of the Fever defense collapsing like they forgot which team they were guarding. This isn't just one bad game. This is a pattern, but it's not just about coaching anymore. The fan base is boiling. They've watched Clark take hits all season with no protection. They've seen the fouls not called, the elbows not punished, the refs just staring at the ceiling while the league's biggest draw gets slammed into the hardwood. It's reached a point where every game feels like a setup, and Bonner just added fuel to that fire. She didn't just try to intimidate a player, she challenged the entire ecosystem that surrounds Caitlin Clark. And spoiler alert, she lost. Because Clark doesn't fight back, she just lets the internet do it for her. Now, here's what everyone keeps forgetting. Dewanna Bonner didn't just attack a player, she tried to silence a movement. Because whether you love her, hate her, or pretend not to care, Caitlin Clark is the engine of this league right now. She's the one drawing the ratings. She's the one bringing in new fans. She's the reason half the arenas are finally selling out more than just the lower bowl. And Bonner tried to big dog that in front of the cameras during a nationally televised game. That's not veteran energy, that's PR suicide. But here's where it gets even more embarrassing. Bonner didn't even win the mind game. Sure, the Mercury won the scoreboard battle, but no one was talking about that. The only clip that trended was the one where Bonner gets waved off like a drunk uncle at Thanksgiving and just stands there blinking. Meanwhile, Clark walked away like she had dinner reservations. It wasn't even close. Bonner's 19 points? Gone. Forgotten. Buried under memes, GIFs, slow-mo edits, and remix videos with goofy sound effects. That's what happens when you try to make Clark your moment. You become her content. And this is becoming a weekly tradition. It's not just Bonner, it's everyone. Every vet who thinks they're gonna humble Caitlin Clark ends up looking like they lost a bet. They puff their chest, act tough, maybe throw an elbow or a hard foul, then they get clipped, cropped, and dunked on by the entire comment section. Clark thrives off this. You think you're sending a message, but all you're doing is feeding her brand. And what makes it worse? She knows it. She knows the second you try to get in her face, the fans are watching, the clips are rolling, and she doesn't have to lift a finger. She lets you spiral. Then she hits a logo 3 just for fun. It's like watching someone play chess while everyone else is playing dodgeball. Bonner had the veteran card in her pocket. She had the resume. She had the chance to lead. Instead, she chose chaos. And Clark, she chose silence. The kind of silence that echoes. And now, Bonner is stuck being a viral moment while Clark walks away with another notch on her belt and a fan base that just got even louder. Now let's really break down why this keeps happening. Because this isn't just about trash talk. This isn't just part of the game. This is a pattern, and the pattern is clear as day. Veterans don't know how to handle Caitlin Clark's spotlight, and they keep trying to dim it with elbows, attitude, or some weak welcome to the league moment that backfires every single time. It happened with Angel Reese. It happened with Chennedy Carter. It's now happened with Dewanna Bonner. Each one of them tried to challenge Clark physically or mentally, and each time it ended up going viral for all the wrong reasons. They're not rattling her, they're boosting her. They're basically sponsoring her highlight reel. And let's not pretend this is some normal rookie hazing. Clark is in her second year, not her first. She's already proven she can handle the pressure. This isn't about teaching lessons. This is about players trying to gatekeep a league that desperately needs fresh blood. And that's the part no one wants to say out loud. Bonner, for all her experience, ended up looking insecure, not in control. She tried to flex, and Clark waved her off like someone trying to sell her fake perfume at a gas station. And then she walked away. That's it. That's the whole power dynamic. Clark controls it. Bonner played right into it. Even worse, the league keeps fumbling how to protect its star. Every single time Clark takes a cheap shot, the refs go into mannequin mode. They freeze up. They look the other way. Hits to the head. No whistle. Elbows. No call. Clark gets pushed into a folding chair. Play on. It's a joke. And fans aren't laughing. They're sick of seeing her treated like a rag doll while the league acts like nothing's happening. Then when a vet goes full WWE and tries to square up, the refs just sip water and stare at the floor. This isn't hard to fix. It's just uncomfortable because protecting Caitlin Clark means acknowledging she's the reason this league is thriving right now. And for some players, that's hard to admit. But the real question is, why does Caitlin Clark keep winning without even trying? Because while everyone else is trying to play checkers, Clark is playing algorithm chess. She's not yelling, she's not pushing back, she's not even flinching, she's just existing. And somehow that's enough to send a vet into meltdown mode. It's not an accident. Clark knows exactly what she's doing. Every time she stays cool and calm during these little on-court explosions, she wins twice. Once in the game, and again on every social feed that matters. And here's the twist nobody's admitting. The Mercury didn't just try to win a game, they tried to rattle a brand, because that's what Clark is now. She's not just a player, she's a brand, a business, and whether the old guard likes it or not, that brand is bulletproof. She gets fouled, she gets shoved, she gets trash talked by vets trying to hold on to their narrative, but Clark is still the headline. She's still the one moving tickets. She's still the one getting the ESPN breakdowns. She's still the one with fans camping outside arenas like it's a Taylor Swift concert. And Bonner, she just gave Clark another building block for the Empire. That wave? That one sarcastic flick of the wrist? It's now a GIF, a meme, a slow-mo highlight. It's content gold, and Bonner handed it over on a silver platter. She thought she was sending a message. Instead, she got turned into another chapter in Clark's rise. Even worse, the Mercury actually played well. They had 5 players in double figures. They spread the floor, played balanced, and still nobody talked about it. All that effort wasted because Bonner turned the spotlight away from her team and aimed it directly at the one person you don't want to challenge unless you're ready for the blowback. And the blowback came fast. Even fans who don't usually watch were chiming in. People who haven't seen a WNBA game in years saw that clip and immediately picked a side. And guess what? They weren't cheering for Bonner, they were laughing. And they were following Clark. That's the danger of trying to clown someone who knows how to make every moment viral. Clark doesn't just survive this stuff, she turns it into fuel. And Bonner, she becomes the cautionary tale. Now let's bring this full circle. Dewanna Bonner had the experience, she had the resume, she had the respect. And in one night, she traded all of that for a viral clip of Caitlin Clark waving her off like an annoying ad on YouTube. She thought she was showing toughness. She thought she was making a statement. But what the world saw was a veteran getting caught trying to humble someone who doesn't play that game. And it's not just embarrassing, it's sad. Because it shows how disconnected some players are from the shift that's already happening. The game has changed. The league has changed. The eyes have changed. Clark isn't fighting for attention, she owns it. And Bonner just helped prove it. Let's not sugarcoat anything. Bonner's attempt to send a message ended with her being the punchline of every trending post. The highlight reel didn't show her scoring. It didn't show her leading. It showed her getting dismissed by someone 10 years younger and twice as composed. And Clark, she doesn't need to talk trash. She doesn't need to fight. She doesn't even need to score 30. All she needs is one moment, and suddenly that's the only thing anyone remembers from the game. It's not just about basketball anymore. It's about power. Clark's power isn't just in points or passes. It's in presence. She draws cameras. She fuels debates. She turns veterans into footnotes without breaking a sweat. And while some players are still trying to throw elbows and cling to that old school intimidation routine, Clark is out here playing chess in full control of the board. Bonner, whether she meant to or not, helped build the Clark legend. She gave her more fuel. She added another viral moment, and in the process, she made herself the latest victim of the Caitlin Clark effect. So now, every time someone thinks about that Mercury Fever game, they won't remember the final score. They'll remember the wave, that little motion that said everything without saying a word.